and I feel like I have to, um, someone did something to me that I didn't deserve, uh, and I have to try to now pay them back for them for that, or this thing that happened was some accident. So this means that we're not seeing ourselves actually as the cause of our own misery. Whereas, if I'm honest, I can think of even in this life so many things that I've done that were not very nice. What to speak of things from previous lives that we don't remember, but still the impact that we've made on others is there. Um, yeah. So I heard a class by a Garanga Prabhu who was visiting recently, and he was explaining that calamity is actually meant to show one the need to depend on the Lord. Yeah, so we have to understand really that everything is happening by Krishna's arrangement, and I'm always dependent on Krishna's mercy. And of course, we don't have to wait until something goes wrong to remember that sometimes it's like that. Something bad happens, and then that's when I remember Krishna. Or, oh my God, why is this? But actually, if we're intelligent, then we know that we're always dependent on Krishna, and nothing happens as we hear from Lord Chaitanya. Not even a blade of grass moves, but without the will of the Supreme Lord. So if we go back to the third canto, um, which is where we first hear about this pastime back in the third canto, and we saw there that actually, Diti and Kasyapa Muni also they are responsible, you could say, for the souls that they brought in, because at the time she was, I mean, it was an honest desire that she wanted to have children, but she was also, there was this agitation for sex life that was also there, and he was insisting, okay, yes, but we have to wait, this is not the right time, but she was very insistent. But we can say also what Prabhupada tells us in the purports, it's not just all her fault, that, oh, because she wouldn't wait. So that's there. She's responsible. But he was also responsible, Kashyapa Muni, because he was kind of like, no, 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 okay. And then he gave in when he should have been stronger. So we have to remember this, that this parenting is actually a very great responsibility. Yeah, the children that are brought forth are basically the result of the consciousness of the parents at the time of conception. So parents definitely need to take their roles very seriously, and understand that raising children is a service, and the service begins even before they're born, because we see in the Bhagavad Gita in 7:11, 7:11, yeah, Krishna says that he is sex life that is according to religious principles. So then in the purport there, Prabhupada says that actually sex life is supposed to be only for having children. So someone could say, well, that's a little too hard for me because it's Kali Yuga, and most people are the attachment for sex life is there. So even to just be in a relationship, like to actually get married to one person and stay with that one person, that's already an austerity in this age. It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It takes a lot of work. So that's there. So somebody might say, well, yeah, this, I can't only, engage when I want to have children. That's too difficult. But the thing is, for all of these, rules and regulations, and you hear all these this list of rituals that Kashyapa Muni is giving. Everything there, we should just see this is for my benefit. And so even if I am finding it very difficult, or I can't understand why I need to do that or not do that, the important thing really is the attitude of the devotee. Like how, so in other words, okay, I can't do this right now, but at least I'm not going to block it. Let me just be open and accept that this is something that I need to do. So I'm open to that. And then from there, um, what's the other thing? Yeah, and then from there, just taking small steps to try to work towards that. So, like again with this case, say with regulating sex life, just trying to regulate as opposed to, okay, maybe it's not going to be only for having children, but at least try to regulate so that in this way, it's not that I'm just always giving in to the mental desire comes and I just give in. So in this way, you're just taking little steps, and prayer. Prayer is always good, and understanding that it takes time. It takes time. There's a very high standard that we're trying to reach, but we don't deny that standard or fight against it. But we understand that it's a gradual process. So I don't need to beat myself up, but I also should not say, no, no way, I'm never going to do that. You know, I'm never going to achieve that. Um, Another thing in the purport at the end here, Srila Prabhupada says that Kashyapa Muni he's bringing, he's actually kind of tricking Diti into becoming a Vaishnavi, so he's kind of bringing her in through another doorway. And this made me think of His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Swami and his expertise, at bringing devotees in. Because we know that Srila Prabhupada, he built a house that the whole world could live in. But a house has many doors. And sometimes people come through the front door, sometimes they come through the side door, they come through the back door. So His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, he knew how to bring people in through various doors. Yeah, and just like we heard, I know like Ekavira Prabhu, for example, would always tell how when he joined, he didn't realize that he was joining the Hare Krishna movement, and it's like, how does that happen? But at the same time, they're following all, the regulations, and the chanting minimum was there, everything was there, but, but Maharaj was just expert at uh, bringing devotees in ways that they could accept and still not lower the standard. So this is what Kashyapa Muni is doing. Um, yeah, and another way that he's kind of tricking her, because he tells her that she cannot harm anyone, but her whole purpose, she's trying to kill Lord Indra. So it's kind of like, um, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. I read that actually in a Burijan Prabhu's commentary. He points that out, you know. So yeah, so he's basically kind of tricking her, but for her ultimate good, because he understands that she's just conditioned and she wants this thing. She thinks this is what she wants, but he understands that this is not a good thing. It's not really the best for her. So he's doing his part to um, show her in a way that she can understand, get her purified so that she can understand that this is not the best thing. And in the end, we'll see later that it comes out positively. The the purification works on her. Um, Another point that Burijan Prabhu actually brings up in his commentary is that it's a good thing for DT. You know, she's not. Don't think she's all bad because she um, understands that she needs guidance from someone who is more advanced than she is. So that's actually a very important thing that in nowadays many people they don't think like that. They think, you know, I can do this on my own. I don't need anybody. I don't need a teacher. I can just figure it out. It's all, I can do it. But she understands that even though her goal is not the best goal, but she understands that to achieve her goal, she has to have the spiritual master. She has to have guidance. And so she's getting that from her husband in this case. Yeah, even sometimes we see that devotees can take shelter of a spiritual master, but not necessarily they're not necessarily looking for guidance. I just experienced not too long back, a devotee was asking questions about initiation, and just from the tone of the questions, it just I was getting very much the impression that this person was really what they were really interested in was the removal of karma. Like I really want to get rid of my karma. So I was trying to explain that that's not the goal of initiation, and that we have to as far as choosing a spiritual teacher, it takes time. It takes time, and that there's the process of you know, it's supposed to be 1 year that you observe the spiritual master perspective, and he or she also observes you. Um, and that yeah, and then and that you have to understand that you have to choose someone that you can accept instruction from for the rest of your life. So that's a very serious thing, and it's not really just uh, you know, okay, here's my chance to get rid of my karma, and then I'm just gonna keep on doing whatever I want. Um, yeah, so actually, I think as far as the verses, that's what I wanted to say. We spoke about um, revenge and how it's very atheistic. How we need to understand that we are the cause of our own miseries, and that actually there's that verse in the 10th canto where Lord Brahma explains that how uh, the one who who understands and accepts that and just patiently waits for the mercy of the Lord, that's the person that you know Krishna's really going to show his mercy to. Yeah. Um, we spoke about the attitudes towards rules and rituals and the importance. We have to know what they are, for one thing. We have to know what they are, and this comes from reading. We have to study Srila Prabhupada's book, so we should know what these rules and these rituals are. We should accept them. But then, you know, as far as being able to carry them out, we make our best effort according to our capabilities, and we push ourselves just a little bit beyond. So the important thing there is just sincerity, being sincere. Uh, we spoke about parenting as a service, uh, and how it begins even before conception. Coming to Krishna different ways and understanding the need for spiritual master, and the proper reason for wanting to have a spiritual master. Okay, so and then I just wanted to read a little bit about Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur first. just as we said today, is his disappearance day. Um, not too long, don't worry. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, 1838 to 1914, was a pioneering spiritual leader, a magistrate working in colonial India under British rule, a prolific preacher, writer, and poet. One of his sons was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, a highly influential spiritual leader in his own right and the spiritual master of the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada. In the closing days of the 19th century, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was the one who re-established the validity of the teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which by then had been largely misrepresented or lost. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote almost 100 books to explain the science of Krishna consciousness. He worked tirelessly to expose pseudo-incarnations of God and defeat misconceptions about the path of devotional service. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was both an active preacher and the deputy magistrate for Jagannath Puri, Orissa, as well as the father of 10 children. One of his sons, again, was Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Biographers say that Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur accomplished all his many duties perfectly. Followers of Krishna consciousness generally observe Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance anniversary by fasting until noon, singing some of his many bhajans, devotional songs, and reading about his life. And also, I wanted to say that um, we've heard that these appearance and disappearance days of our parampara, guru parampara, they're very special, and it's a time also that we can pray to them and connect with them. So particularly Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, as we heard, he was very expert in managing his work. You know, it's not like he was a renunciate and he just lived in the temple or he just did service or did, temple service. He had a big family, he worked a full-time job, and he had a great responsibility with his job. And then he wrote so many books and songs, and he was a pure Vaishnava. So he was able to manage all of those things. So this is a good day to pray to him because we're trying to follow in his footsteps. We have our responsibilities, our material responsibilities, and we have our spiritual responsibilities. So we can offer prayers to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and ask him to help us to be able to manage, all of our many hats and to become as expert as possible in all of them so that there's no suffering, no one suffers from our association. Uh,
Could you tell the dates again of his birth and death?
yeah, um, just the year, 1838 and 1914.
14, that's it.
Yeah. And then one more about Sri Gadadhar Pandit. This one is shorter. Gadadhar Pandit is among the group known as the Panchatattva, consisting of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and four of his closest associates. Gadadhar Pandit spent most of his life in Jagannath Puri, worshipping the Tota Gopinath deity, who is still worshipped in Puri. Gadadhar Pandit is considered an incarnation of Srimati Radharani, the eternal consort of Krishna. And I actually was in Jagannath Puri a few months back, February. That was my first time going there. And we went to the Tota Gopinath temple. We would go for Mangalarti. Oh, such a beautiful deity, so beautiful. And actually, we had a class one day with Madhavananda Prabhu outside of the temple. And he was explaining that actually so there's Tota Gopinath and he's there with Srimati Radharani and Lalita Saki. But he's black marble and they're also black marble. And it's very different because you never really see, Srimati Radharani like black marble like that, or Lalita Devi. And so he explained that the reason that they're like that is because they're also playing musical instruments. and he said that they were so much absorbed in thinking of of Krishna that they just took on his color also, and so that's why those deities are they're black. They're all black marble. So I thought that was really beautiful. And he also said, it's the last point, he also said that it said that this Gopinath, that he was the deity of Lord Brahma, and that this is who Lord Brahma is speaking about when he's offering his prayers, the Govindam prayers. Because he also has the like the moon locket, it's like part of his body on his chest there. And when you go there, if you get the opportunity, they lift up his dhoti, and you can see the line on his thigh, and this is the mark. This is the place where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu entered into Tota Gopinath's body when he left his when he left this material plane, when he gave up his pastimes. Yeah. So thank you. So yeah, Gacharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So we'll open for any questions or comments, corrections. Hare Krishna.
Um, it's not so much a question, but could you speak a little bit more about uh, Bhaktivinoda in regards to his management of time, and I mean, I'm glad you brought that up. That he was not just a renunciate.
Oh, I think I should give you the microphone so if devotees online can hear.
Hare Krishna. Um, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was not just a renunciate, as you were saying, that he was a family man. He had a prestigious job. Not only that, but he was an author of several books. Could you just speak a little bit about, it seems like he had to deal with a lot of time management. Could you talk about that in regards to our Krishna consciousness today with all the things that we're dealing with? And also, my second question is, could you speak also about a little bit more about the mercy of the spiritual master? I'm sorry.
Well, as far as the time management, yeah, actually I don't have it, thank you. I don't have it handy, but there's a schedule. Another son of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he shared that what his daily schedule was like. You know, I mean, he would rise very early in the morning, and you know, just it lists exactly like what he did, and you'll see that every minute was filled. I mean, he had some rest also. He rested at night. He rested sometime in the middle of the day, but there was just no wasted time. Even the rest was, you know, to recharge so that he could continue in all of his services. Um, yeah, so
I think I
yeah,
was kind of like, his schedule was so intense.
yeah, yeah, and he only slept a few hours a night, you know, just like Srila Prabhupada, maybe 2, 3 hours a night he would sleep. Because when the devotees would take rest, that's when he would do his uh, doing the purports, you know, his dictations and translations. Yeah, so that's how it is. That's a sign also that when a devotee is wanting so much to serve that they're very careful about how they use their time. You know, it means that they're advancing, or in this case, very advanced pure devotees. But yeah, but we also can uh, strive to be like that according to our capacity. One thing, it definitely starts with rising early. That's a big thing. Rising early. If we getting the japa done early in the morning is like, then you feel like the rest you have a whole day to do so many things. It's very it's so conducive. It's so conducive for spiritual life, having that japa time in the morning. I know when those days when I have challenges and I didn't get up early enough, and then I just feel like because I really dislike when I'm trying to chant later in the day, and but already my mind is on so many other things, or when you start doing this and doing that and chanting at the same time, and it's just not the same as rising early, chanting, and then you'll see there's so much time in the day to do other things, other services that you like, as well as taking care of the material responsibilities. Yeah. And then the mercy of the spiritual master. I mean, it's all we are made of. It's yeah. It's just mm, what else is there? What else is there? Really, we can't. Um, I'm experiencing like trying to get more in this habit of speaking, giving classes, never really feeling qualified, but completely understanding that this is my I'm trying to serve my spiritual master, trying to do what he would find pleasing, and just having that desire, then he reciprocates and he enables us. He enables us to do so many things, so many things. Yeah. So we are always dependent on the mercy of the spiritual master. And the more that we understand that, the more we become empowered to serve. Yes, Baba. Oh, here. I don't know, what time does the class usually end? Mm. Oh, really? Oh, we have a lot of time.
Thank you, Michael. I was just thinking about in the reading in the Bible when you're saying we have to take responsibility for our suffering and see it as our responsibility, and through some way it's caused through us. And then I was thinking about her husband and trying to protect her from the revenge that she felt because of the suffering. And then I was thinking about the spiritual master group days, like when you know that somebody really loves you and cares for you and wants to protect you, it's a lot easier to then realise that it is my responsibility in the suffering, because without that feeling of, if somebody really loves you and protects you and they want to protect you from that suffering, then you can take it as your responsibility. But I think without that, you still may be finding the blame for that must have come from something else. It wasn't me, it's made me suffer. But through that process, like in the reading today.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the one thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And it's not something either that we just throw at each other. Like, "Oh, this is your own fault. We have to support each other. Yeah, we have to support each other and try to help each other to come to the proper conclusions, but it definitely requires that we have good relationships with each other and that we understand that this person has my best interest at heart. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Any comments online? Oh, let me see I see something in the chat here. Mm, Um, am I going the I was going the wrong way. Dot hard, yes.
If anyone would like to hear, I have Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's daily schedule in front of me.
Oh, yes, please, Tarika Prabhu, please share that.
Okay, between 7:30 and 8 o'clock p.m., he would go to bed. He would then rise just before 10 p.m. and light his oil lamp and write books until 4 a.m. Then he would again rest for a maximum of half an hour, and at 4:30 a.m., he would wash his hands and face, sit down, and chant japa. He never showed his beads to anyone, but would chant on them constantly as time permitted. At 7 a.m., he answered all correspondence. At 7:30 a.m., he would read various religious and philosophical works, and at 8 a.m., he received visitors. If there were any, or else he would continue to read until 9:30. At that time, he would walk back and forth on the veranda of his house, contemplating different religious questions and solving them in his mind. Sometimes he would solve them aloud, as if preaching to some unseen guest. He would rest briefly from 9:30 a.m. to 9:45 a.m., then take bath and breakfast, which usually consisted of a half quart of milk, 2 chapatis, and some fruit. At 9:55 a.m., Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur would put on his uniform and leave for court in his carriage. As a magistrate, he wore a coat and pants. On his neck were 6 strands of large tulsi beads. He was resolute in his court decisions and would decide a case immediately, not tolerating any humbug. He did his business and left. He shaved his head monthly and never cared what anyone thought of it. The lawyers and Englishmen were astounded by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's capacity for work. At 10 a.m., court began. He would hear between 30 and 50 cases per day, yet he finished by 1 p.m. What took other magistrates 1/2 hour, he finished in 5 minutes. He took another 2 minutes to write the judgment in detail. Some of his British superiors became envious and tried to discourage him, but he was not affected. At 1 p.m., he went home, refreshed himself, and then returned to work from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Every evening, after his court duties, Bhaktivinoda Thakur would translate some Sanskrit religious work into Bengali by dictating it to his secretary. Then there was an evening bath and meal consisting of a little rice, 2 chapatis, and another half quart of milk. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur worked with a pocket watch so that everything he did was on schedule. Despite his heavy domestic and official responsibilities, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's every moment was embellished with an intense desire to render service to the Lord. This is quoted from the book Seventh Goswami by Rupa Vilas Das. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wow, thank you for sharing that, Prabhu. Look, I mean, how many things he did even before he went to work. Already I was tired just hearing, and he was just going to work, you know. So imagine. But yeah, so we pray to him because we can appreciate that this was very wonderful, but also see how can I do a little bit of that also, because that's why he did it. He didn't do it just only for us to glorify him, but so that we could see that it could be done. It could be done. Um, yeah, so that's the importance of not wasting time, using our time wisely.
I like what you were saying about using your time with your capacity. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he had such a capacity, but he still used his time so carefully and not to waste a minute of it. So depending on our capacity, if we have that mentality, not to waste it and to use it to our fullest advantage, I think, like you said, we can learn so much. Not that we can be like that, get up at 10 p.m. and work, but we can still do whatever we can. I liked what you said, just to push yourself a bit more, follow him and push through like that. So thank you.
Okay, I see Rajalila Prabhu has her hand raised. Please go ahead and speak, Rajalila Prabhu.
Haribol, Hare Krishna. Jai. Haribol, Lakari Shivram, thank you so much. Wow, what a wonderful, sweet class. So encouraging. So encouraging for many devotees in Krishna consciousness, or trying to practice Krishna consciousness. I was a little bit curious because oftentimes when we hear anyone speak about sex life or regulative principles, it's usually kind of, hardcore. These are the four regs. If you don't follow, you're doomed for life or whatever. You're doomed to stay in the material world. And you just with so much ease, you share it with authenticity about such a deep topic. And I was just curious if you get flack for that sometimes. We're speaking like that.
Thank you, Prabhu, for your presence and your question. Not yet. Not yet. Yeah, I think it's as His Holiness Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj used to say, God's mercy is greater than His law. Yeah, so and Krishna knows what kind of backgrounds we're coming from and how challenging. Who knows better than Krishna how challenging Kali Yuga is, Yeah, so he knows we struggle, but again, if our sincerity is the key in having the right attitude, I think the problem comes in if devotees feel like I can't do that, I'm never going to do that, or why do we need to do that? That's crazy. Then that's a problem. But if we're just honestly sincere and trying our best, I know for a fact. I've seen in my own life and in the lives of many others how much Krishna reciprocates because we're all under Srila Prabhupada's, and and Srila Prabhupada is so merciful, and he gave us this promise that if we just stay in the movement and we continue to try to follow and chant our rounds, so Krishna, he has to reciprocate with that, you know. So yeah, so up to now, no flack, and but I feel confident that it's okay to say that. Hare Krishna. Is this? Oh no. Any other questions, comments?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Jambavati Prabhu.
All
Hare Krishna.
to Prabhupada, Bryce to Gurudev,
All
and
glories to Prabhupada
all
and Gurudev.
to your wonderful class on a topic that I know is in the minds of a lot of our devotees, but sometimes they're a little hesitant to talk about it. I just wanted to mention that in terms of being regulated in sex life, Gurudev also talked about the opposite, going to the far right in terms of just being fanatical about, not being regulated. He mentions how, sometimes, and I'm not the expert on this, obviously, but I'm just going by what he said. Sometimes it's so fanatical in terms of, not breaking regulations that some couples refrain from just natural forms of affection, like holding hands or, giving a hug, or for fear of, exciting passions, I guess. But he, mentioned that that is not normal. Obviously, the person that we love, we do show affection to. And, love is an action verb. So anyway, I just wanted to say that and to say how wonderful it is that you're here. And I can't wait to see you in person. Hare Krishna.
Looking forward to seeing you too. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your comment. Here's a comment from Leela Kishori Devidasi. Hare Krishna, thank you for your class, Ekadashi Vrata Mataji. I really appreciated your emphasis on devotees being responsible for our choices and aware of what is required of us in terms of rules and rituals. Also, your forthright and thoughtful discussion about the challenges to and commitment needed in order to have religious practice concerning sex life in this degraded age. Thank you for your comment, Prabhu. Okay, I think we'll end here. And again, please offer your prayers to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur today and Sri Gadadhar Pandit. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.